Okay, in this video we're going to finish up the demarcation process of our train room. So I'm going to go ahead and open up DraftSight. And I'm going to open up our project, which I think I named Track Design. And so here's the boundary of my room. So this right here, there's actually 3 doors here. These are French doors, but the middle one is the only one that opens. So I'm going to plot what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to plot the doors, the path of the door, these folding doors here, which, you know, when they're opened is all the way up, they come out 9 inches. And then, in case you're wondering, these little boxes I have drawn in here, these little squares, those are actually the wall studs. And they measure 16 inches on center, but I'm skipping, you know, every other one. So when we go to mount, I'm building a shelf layout, so when I go to mount the shelf to the wall, I'll, you know, it'll be 32 inches in between each stud that I'm using. So let's go ahead and come back in here. So what I want to do first, I want to create the doors first. So I'm going to come in here and create a new layer called door and change that color to white, make that my active layer. And so in my train room, this line here, this is actually the inside edge of the door. So the doors are actually kind of like over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rectangle command, specify my start point, and then I'm going to type in D for distance. And it doesn't really matter how wide I make the doors. I'm just going to make them about 2 inches, which I know is, let me open up my calculator here, which I know is going to be 0.167, but see, 2 times 0.0, remember our scale, our multiplier is 0.083 to convert inches to tenths. So yeah, 1.66 or 0.166. Another thing I realized when I went back over in the video, I said 83 hundredths. That's incorrect. It's actually, this would be 83 hundredths, 0.83. That would be 83 hundredths. What I meant to say was 83 thousandths. So that's 83 thousandths. So that's our multiplier. So so the bottom, the horizontal distance is going to be 0.167. And the vertical distance, I should be able just to snap up here and it should give me the vertical distance. So it's asking me for the second point. So there we go. For some reason it didn't, I don't know why it didn't give it to me. But okay, so on the grip edit on these closed entities like this, you can select this little middle grip here, this circular one, and it moves both sides evenly. So in our case, we want to extend this up, but I want to make it, I'm going to type in on the command line down here, perpendicular to what? Perpendicular to this line, this blue line right here. There we go. So that would be my doors. If I wanted to get fancy, I guess I could come in here and draw a line, say in the from the midpoint there to the midpoint there. And it kind of looks more like a door. Let's go back in here and look at the drawing, my sketch. So it looks like this first door is 32 5/8 inches wide. So let's go ahead and figure out what that would be. So 5 divided by 8 plus 32, because it's 32 inches, right? So times 0.083. So that's going to be 2.71. So a quick way to do this is just to use the circle command. So type in C for circle and give it the radius point, which I'm going to use here, and I'm going to give it the radius of that 2.71 here. So 2.71, and that gives us the width of the first door. Okay, so now if I come in here and look at the second door is 31 the main door is 31 3/8 inch. So 3 divided by 8 plus 31 times 0.083, that gives us 2.6. So I'm going to draw another circle, and I'm going to let this radius point intersect here, and that again 2.6, and give it the radius at 2.6. So that would be the wall, or the edge of our middle door. So this would be an edge, and this would be the edge. Let's see what we've got left over. We've got 32 inches, right? So 32 inches is 2.66. So let's go in here and let's just draw another circle from here with a radius at 2.66. Yeah, it's off a little bit. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. And the reason that is because if you remember, we offset this line to this line, and then some of these measurements might not have been precise around this door jamb, so that's probably the reason it's like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and draw a line from the middle of here to, say, perpendicular to there, and believe it or not, there is a line there. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Okay, and then if I erase all these circles here, you see we have our little lines in there. Now I'm going to use the extend command, EX, select on the boundary I want to extend to, right click, and then click on kind of on this side of that little line. Extend it over like that. Same thing for that one. Okay, so there's our doors. So now if we look at let's see. So I opened the door and measured it, and it measured 31 inches. Okay, so let's go back to our CAD program. 31 inches, well, 31 inches real quickly is 2.57. So if we come in here and we draw a circle at right here is really where the hinge would be, 2.57. Okay, and if we draw a polyline from here to this quadrant, remember we had our object snaps here. One of the settings was quadrant, remember, right here, or you could type in quad. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim. I want to take all this part of the circle off to here, so I'm going to type in trim, TR for trim, and I'm going to give it the cutting edges. So one cutting edge is here and one cutting edge is here. So I'm just going to start taking this off. There we go. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and create another layer, and I'm going to call it door path. Okay, and the color on this, let's change this to say a gray color, 253. And the line, we want it to be, let's make it hidden, which is a smaller dashed line, and hit OK. So now all we have to do, now remember we drew all this stuff on the door layer, including this. So, but all we've got to do is just, window that, come over here and change the layer to door path, and there you go. And it inherits, all the properties that we set in that layer, or it converts it over to those properties. Okay, so now we've got let's see what we got now. Let's go ahead and do the folding doors. So, like I said, at the furthest point out, it's 9 inches. I think that's 0.75. Well, I know it is, but just to show you, it's 9 times 0.083. It's 0.75. So what I want to do is I want to draw a polyline from here to here, and then I want to offset that 0.75 like that. Okay, then what I want to do, I'm going to turn off the ortho command, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in P line, and I'm going to go from this corner to somewhere the nearest on here, say to right there. I'm going to come down and I'm just kind of freehanding this. So there we go. So now I'm just going to copy this to here. So that would represent our folding doors. And now what I can do is I can just select these and change those to door path as well. And so that takes care of those. So now if we come in here, we have, it's 14 2 1/4 from this wall to the edge of the door frame. So 2 1/4, that's a 2.25 times 0.083 plus the 14, plus 14 is it's going to be 14.19 if we round up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and draw a circle with a radius of 14 point, what was that, 19? Yeah, 14.19, and that'll be where the edge of our other door is at. And the door measured 3 foot 1 inch. Well, we know 1 inch is 0.083, so it's going to be 3.08. So I'm just going to draw another circle from here with the radius of 3.08. And then I'm going to draw another rectangle, REC for rectangle. And the start point, I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to type in D for dimension, and I'm going to select here again to give it a start point, and here again to give it the end point, or the second point. See down here? What that does is it sets the width of the door for me, so I don't have to, I don't have to type that number in again. So if I click there, now it's going to ask me to specify the vertical distance, which, if you remember from our other doors, I made them 2 inches, so that's 0.167. And so there's that door. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to leave my circles there a second. I'm going to move the door from the midpoint of the door to down here like that. So that's our door. So now what we got to do is the door path. This door, actually, I don't have it drawn on here, but it swings open like this. So it's just going to be the 3-1 number. So if we come in here and just draw a circle, say from here to here, and if we draw another line from here up to this quadrant, then we can trim all this stuff out here like that. And then we can change this layer to door path. Alright, and so now we've got the landing. So it's 4 feet 3 inches wide. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and make the current layer room. I'm going to draw. I can't just offset this line because all these are connected, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and draw a polyline from there to there, and I'm going to offset that 4.25. Yeah, it's 4 foot 3 inches is 0.25, so 3 times 0.083, 0.25. So I'm going to offset that 4.25. And that'll be our landing. I'm just going to delete that line so I have 2 there. And then looking back at our well, where's it at? There we go. Looking back, it looks like I measured back 1.5 inches from the corner back to where the steps start. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. So 1.5 inches. Well, a half inch is 400ths, right? Because a whole inch would be 800ths. So we need to come back 1.04. So draw a circle. 1.04, and then I'm going to draw a line from here to there, and then I'm just going to offset that. Well, let's get a number on that. If you draw a circle, make sure you're snapping the endpoint from there to there. Just click it and look down here. We've got 3.1. So we know if we have 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, 3.1 divided by 4, each step is about 0.78. So let's just offset 0.78 and go 1, 2, 3, 4. It takes care of our steps. So now the only thing we got left to do, and I'm just going to show you a couple of these. It's the same process. In fact, let me come up here and create a new layer, and we will call it wall stud. And I'm going to change the color to green, and can just leave that continuous. Let's make that the active layer. Okay, so now back on my drawing here, it's 32 inches from this corner all the way across, right? So what I can do, we know that 32 inches is 2.66, right, rounding up. So what we can do is we can come in here and draw a radius of 2.66. It's weird. Do this again. 2.66. You know, now that I think about it, there is a glitch in this program, and that's what it is. Sometimes when you go to draw a circle, it doesn't draw it. You have to kind of like mouse in and out as you're issuing the circle command to get it to draw. So if that happens to you, you know, that's I think it is a little bit of a bug in the program. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to draw a wall, little square for a wall stud. So I'm going to type in REC, and we'll specify the corner, and I'm going to give it a dimension here, and I'm just going to make it I don't know, let's see, how about 0.25 wide and 0.167 high. There we go. And then I'm going to fill that. I'm going to hatch that. So remember our hatch command, or you could type in BH for B hatch. And I'm going to change the style to solid. Hit OK. And select specify entities. You could either you can preview it here or just hit OK just to go ahead and finish the command. So now what I want to do is I want to copy this circle here. I'm just going to come through here and kind of do an array of circles. Like so. I'm going to come in here and copy my wall stud here from the midpoint here, and I'm just going to place it at each one of these points. And window from right to left, erase those circles, and there you go. So guys, I hope this was helpful, and you know, before I get out of here, put it back on layer 0. So let's just say you guys are doing a shelf layout similar to me. Okay. Something like that. And so say your shelf layout's going to be 18 inches wide, or it sticks off the wall 18 inches, which is going to be 1.5. So I'm going to offset that box I just drew 1.5. So that's where your, you know, the edge of your shelf would be. So if we come in here and just draw a polyline just to represent some track, and again, I'm not really trying to, I'll show you what I'm doing here in a second. All I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to get an idea if I click on that, come down here, well, it's 51 feet, right? So if you're drawing in a HO scale like me, you know 1 foot represents 87 feet. So if we have 51.23, if we come in here to our calculator and take 51.23 times 87, well, that in scaled life, that would be 4,457 feet. That's not quite a mile. There's 5,280 feet in a mile. So if we divide that by 5,280, we get about 8/10 of a mile. So if we modeled without compressing anything, we could model about 8/10 of a mile. So the reason I bring that up is because I wanted to show you guys real quick here. And you may have already known this in Google Earth. Type in Nashville, Tennessee. So if we come in, I don't know, I know for a fact that there is there's a short line right here, the Nashville and Eastern Railroad. So let me roll out here. So if you come under Tools and go under Ruler and select Path, and you can, I don't know if it's defaulted to miles. I may have set this already. But if you leave that on and you get this little box around your mouse cursor and you click again, you can see the miles are incrementing. So if I was going to model this railroad here, you know, let's see how far I could go with 0.8 miles. Okay, well there we go. I could model that much of the railroad without having to compress anything. So obviously we're going to compress some things, but that gives you an idea of you know, why it's really great to be able to have you know this number right here. It gives you an idea, you know, of what you can start to prototype as far as how much you can prototype. So in the next video we'll talk about compression and a little bit more. So until then, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.